In today's video, I want to show you 5 different gift ideas that you can make using fabric scraps. Hi, I'm Kim Jamieson-Hirst, and if you're like me, you probably have a lot of fabric scraps, and they can be used to make some really fun gift ideas. So I want to share some of those with you in today's video. One of the things you make with your fabric scraps is mug rugs. So I have some examples here. Here's one I've made with strip piecing. This one is strip piecing, but making a little Christmas tree, of course. And then this is actually one that is from a course I have on free motion quilting. So we made the little mug rug because we actually wanted to quilt it. But you can see that they're different sizes. You can make them any size you want. These whip up so quickly, and they're really great to have for gifts, especially for unexpected gifts. You can also make bookmarks with your fabric scraps. So if you have bigger scraps, like I used for this particular one, you can put them together and add decorative stitches to add some interest to it. This particular one is great for using your smaller pieces of fabric because it's a quilt as you go technique. So when you've got it all done, you can have all these different fabrics on the front and just a solid piece on the back, or you could add different fabric strips on the back too if you wanted to. Make sure you check the description below because I've included links to videos on how to make these bookmarks and others like it. What about making pin cushions from your fabric scraps? Who doesn't like pin cushions, or sometimes you hear them called shelf sitters because they can be just decorations in your quilt studio or even elsewhere in your home. I have a wide variety of them here. One is made with half square triangles. I've added some hand embroidery to it to embellish it and a little yo-yo in the center. But these are not very big half square triangles, so definitely those can be from your fabric scraps, and a small piece of fabric on the back finishes that off. You can see this one, it's bigger, but it actually has smaller pieces of fabric in it. These are coordinated, but they don't have to be. It's also a great way to use up buttons if you like to collect buttons like I do. This particular one is a simple log cabin block made into a pin cushion. Again, a great way to use up a whole variety of fabric scraps. In this particular case, I've chosen to have light on one side and darker fabrics on the other, but you don't have to do that. You can mix up any fabrics that you want at all. Again, done some hand embroidery and added a button for embellishment. And this one here is, like the first one, a pin cushion made from a pinwheel. But instead of just having the center yo-yo, I've actually added a little heart button in the center too, and I've done some different hand embroidery stitching on this particular one. Again, check the description below because I have a free pattern on how to make this pinwheel pin cushion. I love to do Fusible Web Appliqué, and fabric scraps are great for doing that because very often you don't need a very big piece of fabric at all to use for an applique piece. This little guy is actually a very small little quilt. This is called It's a Hoot. It's a free pattern on my website. So again, check the description below for a link to that pattern. And this little guy is, using very small pieces, especially in his eyes, for the applique pieces. You don't need much at all to make this particular project, whether you're talking about the applique or whether you're talking about the background or even the borders on it. Again, I've used hand embroidery to embellish this. Because it's such a small project, it didn't take me very long to do that at all. So I like to have this hung up in my studio. You may have seen it in the background of some of my videos even. And if you like to make soft toys, I kind of think of these as stuffed appliques. You could use your scrap fabrics too. So some of them, depending on the size, you might have to pull a bit from your yardage. So for example, for this one here, this design is called Hootie. It includes the 3 sizes of these little owls. You might need a little bit more fabric for the background, but certainly for all the features on the owl, you won't need anything bigger than probably what you already have in your fabric scraps. And then of course, as we get to the smaller sizes, I call this the daddy, mommy, and the baby. When you get to these ones here, you can see that the pieces are a little bit smaller, and then they get very much smaller in the little guy here. So again, if you're looking at making soft toys, the nice thing about using your scrap fabrics, twofold. First off, if you're putting them on and you're stitching them down like I did with satin stitch here, is you don't have to worry about anything being pulled off here. It's not like there's buttons here for the eyes or the nose or anything like that. So they're great for little ones. So they're nice and soft and cuddly and squishy, and you don't have to worry about any of these pieces coming off either. So again, any type of applique, but I like to put them on these little stuffies, and it doesn't take much fabric at all. These ones here, as I mentioned, are a pattern. There's 3 different sizes in the pattern. Check the description below for a link to the Hootie pattern. So I've shared some ideas with you, and I'm wondering, what do you like to do with your fabric scraps? What type of gifts do you make with your fabric scraps? Leave a comment below because I'd love to hear your ideas. So I hope you enjoyed those ideas for using your fabric scraps, and make sure you check the description below because I have links to videos and free patterns on some of those items that I've shown you. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps to get in front of other viewers just like you. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. And before you go, check out these other videos I have just for you. For more helpful quilting information, please go to www.chatterboxquilts.com.
It's too late now. What are you going to do with the outro? Take everything off and do the outro.